Do you feel Mashiach in the air? I don't know about you, but I certainly do. Now, of course, this is a time of incredible pain and destruction, and there is so much loss of life. But the Jewish people have the promise that we are an eternal nation. Moreover, we have a Tanakh full of beautiful prophecies that the ultimate redemption is coming very soon. Now, I want to share with you something mind-blowing. If you were in a synagogue on Sukkot, you might have noticed that we read Ezekiel chapter 38 and Zechariah chapter 14 during the holiday of Sukkot. Why do we read these chapters? These are the chapters that deal with the final battle, with the war of Gog and Magog, before the final redemption. Why do we read it then? The war of Gog and Magog is supposed to land right around the time of Sukkot, and we certainly saw that this happened during the time of Sukkot. Gog in Hebrew means roof. The people who trust in the roof, who trust in their own brute strength, are going to come across the people who trust in the clouds of glory, which are symbolized by the sukkah. The people who trust in the God of Israel, the people who turn to Him for everything. The war of Gog and Magog is very specifically about the battle between good and evil. That's exactly what it's about. It's about people who trust in their own strength. It's this ultimate clash between ideologies, between my brute power versus the God of Israel. In Ezekiel chapter 38 verse 5, it tells us that Persia, aka Iran, will be at the forefront of those who come against us. It's no secret that Iran is the funding behind Hamas, and that the Iranian government wants to see the Jewish people destroyed. Now, I'm not saying conclusively that this is the war of Gog and Magog. However, there is a high possibility that it is. Despite the brute force and the funding behind Hamas, and despite the support of many nations, the Jewish people will not be broken. We know that whether or not this is the war of Gog and Magog, there will be many, many miracles performed for the Jewish people, and it will be done to glorify the name of God. And this battle is not about punishing the Jewish people. It's actually about punishing the nations who have tormented us throughout the many years. It's about separating the wheat from the chaff, from bringing out those who want to serve God, who want to be moral people, from those who don't. This is the ultimate battle of good and evil. Yes, the Jewish people are the suffering servant in Isaiah 53. Yes, we are the people who have been downtrodden, beaten, oppressed, called barely human, marred by humanity. And yet, we stand strong, and yes, we will be vindicated. And yes, we can see with our own eyes that the multitudes are being made righteous. It is unbelievable to see the prophecies being fulfilled before our eyes. And if you read Isaiah 53, just jump back a little bit to Isaiah 52, verse 13. If you start reading from there, you'll see that at the time that the suffering servant is vindicated, all the nations of the world are going to clap their hand over their mouth and going to say, oh, we're seeing things that were never shown to us. We're understanding things that were never explained to us. Now we understand why the Jewish people went through all this. The Jewish people have gone through suffering in order to reveal God's goodness in this world, in order to show the world how to serve God, in order to make multitudes righteous. And Baruch Hashem, thank God, we have seen so much goodness pouring out from both righteous Jews and righteous Gentiles around the world, people who see the evil and are choosing to stand on the side of goodness. I can't even tell you how many inspiring videos I've seen over the last few days. If you've been following my stories, you've seen so much goodness going on, not just among Jews, but also among Gentiles, people who say this is not acceptable what is happening, and we stand with the Jewish people. Whether or not this is the war of Gog and Magog, we ask you to continue standing on the side of goodness, to choose God, to choose good, kind acts to make the world a better place. That's what we can do now. It's time to show the world who we are. Whether you are a Jew or you are a Gentile who wants to stand with the God of Israel, now is the time to do the most that you can to bring more goodness into this world. So join with us, be strengthened, because we know that ultimately good will prevail. But it is a choice choosing to side with the God of Israel, choosing to stand for goodness.